Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Core Connections. I'm Kimberly Fenwick, Director of System Risk and Rail at Technical Safety BC. Thank you to everyone for joining us today from across the province. I am coming to you today from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Squamish Nation, Tsleil-Waututh Nation, and Musqueam Nation. We recognize and respect them as nations in this territory, as well as their historic connection to the lands and waters around us since time immemorial. Personally, I have deep gratitude for the privilege of working and raising my family in this beautiful place. As an organization, we're committed to improving relationships and our own understanding of Indigenous people and their communities. In that spirit, it's my pleasure to introduce Shayna Sylvester, who is of Coast Salish ancestry from the traditional territory of the Saanich people. Shayna is a Bachelor of Social Work student at the University of Victoria and the Community Engagement Lead for the South Island Indigenous Authority. Welcome, Shayna. Each year, as part of our commitment to safety in British Columbia, Technical Safety BC posts this annual public meeting, Core Connections. This is an opportunity for you as British Columbians from across the province to connect with us as the regulator. Like the last 2 years, Core Connections is taking place virtually to ensure a province-wide opportunity for stakeholders to participate. Today, we will start with some presentations, followed by a Q&A session with the executive team. Afterward, there will be 3 topic-specific breakout sessions. After the event, we will be circulating a post-event survey through our site, Engage Technical Safety BC. Before we jump into that, there's a few housekeeping items I'd like to go over. Today's event, including the breakout sessions, will be recorded and shared via social media and email after the event. With presentations, the Q&A and breakout sessions, we have a busy and exciting 2 hours ahead of us this morning, so let's get started. We are pleased to present the 2021 State of Safety and our annual report. The annual report details our business transformation, financial performance, and our primary goals as an organization. Meanwhile, the State of Safety provides a snapshot of technical safety in the province. It highlights how our organization has adapted to better support British Columbians as we continue to respond to the impacts of the pandemic and climate change across the province. Key areas the report covers include climate resiliency, carbon monoxide awareness, our work on ammonia education, inspections and permit information, and our business transformation endeavors. Available on our website, the State of Safety's fully digital report provides a variety of interactive charts that invite readers to explore the data, as well as links to stories that showcase the work we have done over the last year to improve safety in British Columbia. Our first presenters this morning are Technical Safety BC board member David Gusgod and our new President and Lead Executive Officer, Phil Gota. They will speak to highlights in the State of Safety report, our annual report, and Technical Safety BC's vision and progress towards our strategic commitments. I am now pleased to introduce David Gusgod. David is a member of Technical Safety BC's Board of Directors and Chair of the Governance and Human Resources Committee. Please welcome David Gusgod.
Great. Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. As Kimberly said, I'm David Gusgod, and I have the privilege today of providing the voice of our chair, our board chair, George Abbott. George is recovering from a cold, under the weather, and his voice is not strong yet. However, he's very keenly watching our procedures today. And George carefully prepared his remarks for today. And I want to make sure that I don't ad-lib in any way from that. So I'm going to present and read to you George's exact wordings for this. And before I do, I would like to recognize that I'm joining you today from the city of Vernon, located in the traditional territory of the Syilx people of the Okanagan Nation. So consider that I've got quotation marks on now. I'm going to read you George Abbott, our board chair's exact remarks. Good morning, I'm George Abbott, and I have the privilege to represent the Board of Directors of Technical Safety BC as their chair. On behalf of the entire board, thank you all for joining us at Core Connections 2022. I want to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you from the unceded territory of the Lekwungen peoples, the Songhees, and the Esquimalt. Before anything else, I'd like to say a sincere thank you to each and every one of you who plays a vital role in supporting and strengthening our province's safety system, ensuring we can deliver on our vision, safe technical systems everywhere. It's thanks to you, our clients and stakeholders and the general public, along with our employees and partners, that we can maintain and innovate the system to better serve all people in British Columbia. Guiding us tirelessly towards our vision are Phil Gauthier, President and Lead Executive Officer, and the leadership team of Technical Safety BC, who deserve recognition for their hard work and for their vision for the safety system and the organization. As we virtually gather for this year's Core Connections, I think it's important to reflect on how much Technical Safety BC accomplished in 2021, despite so much going on around us. We should celebrate the impact that we collectively made to make our province safer and make the safety system more resilient in the face of COVID-19, extreme weather, societal challenges, and so much more. This past year, as an organization, we took several steps to expand the accessibility of safety information, our key services, and our products. All this work was to ensure that we can better serve our clients and work collaboratively with our stakeholders. We also need to recognize the internal changes that Technical Safety BC navigated. The biggest of those changes, of course, was the departure of our former president and lead executive officer, Catherine Room, who announced her intention to move on last summer and formally ended her tenure in January. I want to express my most sincere gratitude to Catherine for her dedicated years of service over more than a decade. Catherine shaped Technical Safety BC into the leading organization we are today, and she leaves behind a remarkable legacy and foundation of innovation for us to build on, which is exactly what we're doing. As we look to the future, I'm very confident about our continued path forward under our new president and lead executive officer, Phil Gauthier. Phil is an exclusive, client-focused, collaborative leader. Pardon me. Prior to becoming president and lead executive officer, Phil was a member of Technical Safety BC's executive team and brings unrivaled knowledge of British Columbia's safety systems to the role, as well as an unwavering commitment to you, our clients and stakeholders. Throughout the extensive recruitment process, Phil shared a clear and compelling vision for the future of Technical Safety BC, which we refer to as safety at scale. I'm confident that he will take that vision and our strategic plan and further build on our solid and successful foundation to deliver even greater results in the years ahead. Over the past year, the board has observed the team at Technical Safety BC work tirelessly to ensure you, our clients and stakeholders, see the value in our work and view the organization as a trusted, effective, and competent partner. In collaboration with you and other safety system participants, we've enhanced the system and scaled our efforts, resulting in a range of improvements, such as our expanded online design registration portal, a refined online exam experience, and better digital tools for clients to participate in virtual assessments. And there's much more to come. As always, Technical Safety BC remains committed to a bold vision for the future: safe technical systems everywhere. Although much work lies ahead, our organization is well positioned to face the issues of today and tomorrow. We are focused on continuing our work in critical areas such as climate change, reconciliation, diversity, and inclusion, and as well as technological advancement. Beyond these vital areas, our organization is also working to support our clients as they navigate continued economic uncertainty and legislative changes around the governance of skilled trades in BC. There's much work to be done, and I'm confident that we are set to accomplish our goals and much more. On behalf of the board, I want to thank Phil and the entire executive team for your commitment to our organization. To all Technical Safety BC employees, we are grateful for your tireless dedication to your work and to safety across all our communities. In closing, I want to thank each and every one of you, our clients and stakeholders, for joining us today. Your resiliency and commitment to safety citizens in British Columbia ensures that people across the province can be confident in the technologies that serve them. You should be proud. You should be proud of what has been accomplished and optimistic about what's yet to come. Thank you. That's delivered on behalf of George. And now I'd like to turn things over to our new lead executive officer, Phil Gauthier, who will continue the program. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, David, for that very kind introduction. And good morning, everyone. I'm Phil Gauthier, and I'm excited to be speaking with you at my first Core Connections as President and Lead Executive Officer of Technical Safety BC. I'm joining you this morning from our office in Vancouver, which is on the traditional, ancestral, unceded territory of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Like Kimberly, I too am profoundly grateful to be able to live, work, and raise my family here. While this is my first Core Connections as Lead Executive Officer, it certainly is not my first with the organization. In fact, this is my 13th annual public meeting since joining what was then known as BC Safety Authority in 2009. It has been a privilege to be a member of the executive team and to have played a part in our transformational journey under the inspiring leadership of Catherine Room. As you know, Catherine announced her departure last year, and I am honored to be here in the LEO role as we begin the next phase of Technical Safety BC's journey, building on the strong foundation that she started. I'd like to begin by thanking our incredible Technical Safety BC employees. We are so fortunate to have such a talented and committed team across the province. I want to acknowledge the hard work and tireless dedication of each of our people over the past year, under what can only be described as exceptional circumstances. The impacts of COVID-19 on people, families, and workplaces, the extreme weather impacts we saw in 2021, coupled with the many broader societal challenges we've seen here at home and across the globe. The heartbreaking discovery of Indigenous children buried around former residential school sites here in BC and elsewhere. Hate and violence boiling over, racism, and now more recently, the invasion of Ukraine. And even just this week, the tragedy of yet another school shooting, taking so many innocent young lives in Texas. All of these things take a toll on each of us. Some of that toll we can see, other parts aren't so evident, yet it affects us all. Our team continues to support each other through all of it and never loses sight of the importance of our mandate. I also want to thank you, our clients and stakeholders, for your hard work, your resilience, and your collaboration over another challenging year. We came together despite everything going on around us to keep innovating and striving for a safer system for all people in British Columbia. That is worth acknowledging and applauding. Our vision at Technical Safety BC is for safe technical systems everywhere. That is what guides our people and our work day in and day out. But I'm also reminded that the safety system is at its best when we work as a team to share knowledge, best practices, and identify common risk factors, because all of us together are key components of the safety system and its continued success. Looking back at 2021, collectively, we have done a lot of good work to take an already safe system and make it even safer. A big part of those efforts focused on resilience and adaptability. We worked not only to maintain the system amidst new public health restrictions, but also to scale our efforts, which resulted in a broad range of improvements. This is now an ongoing effort, asking ourselves and asking you how we can make better use of innovation and data-driven learning to be more effective, equitable, and efficient across the system. We also took steps to expand the accessibility of safety information, key services, and products so that they are there where, when, and how you and British Columbians across the province need them. Our ongoing carbon monoxide education program is a great example, where we developed and implemented new strategies for communicating and engaging with you and the public around the critical area of safety, around this critical area of safety, and where we saw impactful results come from that work. It started with a comprehensive investigation into a type of gas burning furnace manufactured between 1989 and 2011. We learned that 8 people had been hospitalized due to carbon monoxide exposure that involved a common brand of residential furnace. Our incident investigation team examined the incident, identifying and scrutinizing any similarities. These findings are compiled into a detailed analysis known as the Carrier Gas Furnace Report. As a result of this effort to provide actionable safety information based on using data from multiple investigations, an additional 17 confirmed failures of these furnaces with the same type of heat exchanger have been reported to Technical Safety BC. Let me just pause for a moment to emphasize that it is work like this and the investments we have made in people and technology that really distinguishes our talented Technical Safety BC team. Another example is the expansion of certification exams to align with new code change requirements and implement revised procedures that are more equitable for clients across the province. After receiving feedback from examinees, we refined our online exam experience with improved accessibility, special accommodations, a flexible exam schedule, and faster results. It might seem like a small thing, but this move towards more online exam options has increased access to certification programs, no matter where someone is in the province. In fact, throughout the year, nearly 2,400 certification candidates took an online exam, compared to 2,100 in-person exams. This continued move towards working together to find ways of making the safety system and your interactions with it more effective, equitable, and efficient is what I call safety at scale. So let me tell you a bit more about safety at scale. Every day, our team at Technical Safety BC asks themselves, what do people expect from their regulator? And we consider everything we can do to ensure British Columbians see our organization as being resilient and trustworthy. That they see us not as simply a regulator imposing rules and burdens on their activities, but as a trusted partner, always looking for ways to do things better, more equitably for everyone, and certainly more efficiently, making things safer for all of us. This includes an emphasis on prevention through education and collaboration, as we've seen with our ammonia safety training program. This program is a great example of Technical Safety BC collaborating with a cross-section of system participants to learn from an incident together. It is also a good example of implementing improvements that are scalable. With ammonia safety, we work together with system participants to put learnings gained from a tragic incident to use in a digestible and scalable way within an industry sector. Digital online training, for example, that can be updated and tailored for various uses was designed and made available when it is needed. The development of remote inspection practices and tools and the use of predictive analytics represents other areas where we are pursuing opportunities to scale the safety impact of our collective efforts. For instance, our structured resource allocation program generates predictive insights from past and real-time assessment data, helping our safety officers make smarter, data-driven decisions about where to focus their ongoing assessment activities. It enables safety officers to focus on assessments where there is a higher probability of finding safety hazards. As the algorithm receives more feedback from the field, it adapts and improves its predictive capability, focusing safety officers' assessments to where they are needed most. Importantly, safety officers continue to apply their years of experience and knowledge to their work, using data and tools to inform their activities. Our safety officers can identify levels of risk and optimize their safety oversight while keeping clients better informed and prepared for safety assessments. In 2021, we further expanded our ability to do remote assessments, something that started in the initial days of COVID-19. By developing digital tools that help clients efficiently upload images, communicate virtually, and better prepare for assessments before contacting safety officers. To date, these initiatives have brought benefits to the system, supporting us to augment resources, adapt to constraints, and make our province safer. I also know that there remains a lot of work to do to further hone these approaches, make them more usable and universally effective. It is important work that Technical Safety BC will continue to advance greater safety at scale. Now, we can't talk about the future of the safety system without talking about one of the biggest lessons of 2021, and that is the need to do all we can to support climate resiliency in British Columbia. This is an imperative of our mandate, to be future-focused, looking ahead, and adapting to keep people and systems safe despite the impacts of climate change. We experienced unprecedented impacts last year. The deadly heat dome, out-of-control wildfires, an entire community burned to the ground. Then, just a few months later, entire communities underwater and washed out transportation infrastructure. It is frightening and daunting to contemplate the continuation and acceleration of these types of extreme weather events and the profound long-term impacts and costs on the entire safety system and on the lives of British Columbians. So we are focused on mitigating, preparing, and adapting. We are working hard with our partners to make both systems and people more resilient, to help prevent damage to equipment before a disaster, and to enable people and communities to get back on their feet faster after a catastrophe has occurred. We're also working to be part of the solution in combating climate change through measures like supporting electrification and alternate future energy sources, such as hydrogen. With safety being challenged by the impacts of climate change, our organization has a duty to step up and face these challenges so everyone can continue to live and thrive in British Columbia. Another area of focus for Technical Safety BC is equity and inclusivity. Safety at scale is only achieved with equity. Sadly, today, despite so many great strides being made, the reality is that not all communities, regions, and peoples are equal in the safety system. This is not right. It needs to be addressed. Increasing equity takes investment. We need to take what we've learned through COVID-19 to scale our processes, tools, and technology to increase our reach and improve safety in underserved areas. Reconciliation with First Nations and Indigenous communities is also a key area of focus and commitment. Our reconciliation journey will require significant organizational change. continued examination of our existing mindsets and practices, and increased efforts to meaningfully connect with Indigenous communities. Lastly, let me end my remarks by talking about our clients. All of you who participate directly in the safety system and interact and transact with us every day. A renewed client focus is also an integral part of safety at scale. As LEO, I commit to working tirelessly to make it easier for people to connect with and actively participate in the safety system, to make sure that you see yourselves as key players in the system, and to strive to make sure you see the benefits of being part of it. We have launched a multi-year business transformation initiative that will allow Technical Safety BC to further advance a client-centric service delivery model, empowering clients and employees to with better processes and tools. We've improved the experience of online certification exams, expanded our online design registration portal, and piloted new automation processes to serve you better. While there is more work to be done, I hope you are seeing improvements in your experiences with us, and I am excited for what else is in store. Let me finish by saying this. I know that each of you is invested in our safety system. That's why you're watching or listening to this today. That's why every day you and your teams do what you do for people and communities across our province. Each and every one of you has ownership of the system, deserves to see the results of your efforts and contributions you are making. My goal as lead executive officer of Technical Safety BC is to help ensure that this is exactly what happens, that you see those benefits, that you see the positive results of your safety efforts, our collective efforts as we work together for safe technical systems everywhere in British Columbia. Thank you. With that, back to you, Kimberly.
Thank you, Phil and David and George. It's been another busy year, and we're fortunate to have such passionate and innovative leadership in the organization during these uncertain times. Now, if you could all please join me in welcoming Wesley Ma, our Vice President of Finance, to provide our 2021 financial update and how we're tracking so far in 2022.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Wesley Ma, Vice President of Finance with Technical Safety BC. I'm very pleased to be here to provide you the summary of our 2021 financial performance. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge that I'm speaking to you today from Burnaby on the traditional unceded territory of Musqueam and Squamish nations. So I'm very pleased to report that 2021 was a year of recovery and very strong growth for us as the economy rebounded from the depths of pandemic. So that recovery and the increase in permitting and other activities saw a large increase in our service revenue compared to 2020. Our client benefited from a very strong residential market, especially in the suburb area of the province, where housing demand fueled by many moving out of city center and boosted the construction dramatically. But that side, the commercial construction remained subdued, with the low demand of office space and the instability of many public-facing business, which further impacting us. There's other new challenges also presented themselves in 2021, as most of us have seen and probably experienced the firsthand. The supply chain disruption caused project delays and impact the cost of certain key materials, such as lumber. And additionally, a very tight labor market in specific skilled trade means that the contractor could not always keep up with the demand. There was also the impact of Omicron and the third wave. So those factors become more pronounced from late spring last year onwards and are reflected in our revenue result. So, however, despite all those challenges, overall, our total revenue for 2021 was 76.5 million, which is 7.3 million above 2020. And of this 26.5 million total, 74.7 million came from our service revenue, and 1.8 came from investment and other income. So our 2021 budget did allow for significant fluctuation in revenue, with releases of funding planned if growth exceeded the expectation. So we released a total of 3 million additional funding in 3 phases, in May, in July, and October. As always, Technical Safety BC is committed to putting revenue directly back to the safety system. So those additional funding directly supported the emerging initiative and the employee capacity, so we could better serve our client, further improve safety for all British Columbians. So including the 3 million additional funding release, our total expense for 2021 was 75.5 million. So 1 million surplus was generated at the bottom line. And this surplus will be invested to support our continued business transformation project over the next 3 years. Our total reserve remained at a similar level to 2020. But we moved 6 million from the operating reserve to our capital reserve, which is aligned with our capital plan for next few years. So in short, we achieved break-even target and have successfully maintained our reserve level, which underpins the resilience and sustainability of Technical Safety BC for the future. So that's the summary of our 2021 financial result. You can find more detail from our annual report available on our website. So now let me share a quick update on how we're doing in the first few months of this year. The overall economy has a very strong momentum with high employment rate. COVID-19 restrictions continue to be lifted, and businesses are reporting a higher confidence level this year. So as a result, they're willing to make investment that they hold off during the pandemic. So overall, the economy weathered the wave of Omicron relatively well. However, the pandemic continues to have an impact to our economy, and that impact is constantly evolving. So that side, there are still several other significant factors negatively impacting our revenue in 2022. For example, this will come, I guess, as no surprise to most of people here, as inflation is impacting your business and your life. It's also impacting us. So the salary and the cost of recruiting and retaining the best possible talent are going up significantly. The Bank of Canada response of rising interest rate will also have a damping effect on the economy and most likely on the housing sector. Other things like international factor, such as the war in Ukraine and the disrupted supply chain, have driven up the price of oil and other commodities. And those cost increase will be passing through to the business and also passing to the customer. So construction in general is impacted by both interest rate and the continued supply chain, the labor shortage. So homeowner will feel the pain from the rising price and may postpone or cancel their home building or renovation plans. So because of all those factors, we did saw a weak revenue at the start of 2022. So the actual revenue for Q1 is 2.4 million below our expectation, mainly due to the shortage of installation permit from residential sector and also the unrealized loss from our investment portfolio. So we're in the middle of this fluctuation right now, and our finance team is closely monitoring the trend. The good news is on the expense side, we remain very careful on spending in terms of both operating and the capital expenses, while still doing what we need to do to support our clients and employees. So we do have a similar level of positive variance on the expense side to absorb the negative variance from the revenue side. And we will keep taking the right actions and continue to be transparent with our client, our stakeholders as we weather the storm. It is critical that we remain accountable to our budget as we continue to work through a very challenging time. However, I remain cautiously optimistic about what to come. So that's my financial update. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wesley. That brings us to the question period. And Wes, I think the first question's for you. But before we get to the first question, for those wishing to submit questions, please use the Q&A function available at the bottom of your screen. Please don't be shy about submitting questions. This is an opportunity for you as clients and stakeholders to provide feedback, share ideas, and have your questions answered by our executive team. We'll respond to any questions we can't get to during the session after the event via email. And with that, we'll jump into the first question here. Wesley, how does tsbc plan to weather the upcoming recession and the challenges of the current supply chain crisis?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So there's a couple of things we plan to do. One is definitely be very cautious on the spending in the next couple of years from both operating and capital spending. This year, actually after Q1 result released, we have carefully reviewed our budget and plan to do a revision of the budget, and that including some budget cutting and also budget reallocation. So that will create a great momentum for the coming year. So not only cutting the cost, but we will be focusing on how to put the resource or the money to the most important area to save the cost. And that's the expense side. On the revenue side, we also are looking for some opportunity to increase both our organic revenue growth and also the inorganic revenue growth. So the revenue expense adding together, hopefully that will provide us a little bit higher or a margin or bottom line to flow into our future reserve. So in short, like overall, I think we try to create a higher margin and to build our reserve level in response to this upcoming recession. Another thing worth to mention is the investment. So technical CFTBC, we do have an investment portfolio. In the past, we have been putting our portfolio in the stock market and also the short-term bond, which has been very challenging to manage in the past couple of quarters with the market fluctuate almost every day. So one thing we're looking at right now is to shift our investment portfolio from a relatively risky stock market to a stabilized, more stable investment portfolio like mortgage-backed security, infrastructure-backed security. So those will provide very stable, long-term fixed return rather than the fluctuation with the market. So those are some tactics we will do to in response to the recession. But really good question. Thank you.
Thanks, Wesley. And as a follow-up to that, before you run away, how will Technical Safety BC ensure that the company's current financial situation and future budget cuts and reallocations won't affect safety levels in the province?
Yeah, safety is our mandate, and it's one of our key value. So when we review all the business case or like a financial plan, we put safety always on the top. So the cut or the reallocation are mainly from the discretionary spending, like travel, training, contract cost, or even all those internal business and office expenses. So another thing I was to mention is Technical Safety BC also put our employees first. So we have no plan to make any change to our employee structure, and all our employees will be here to support the same level of safety service we provide to the public. So in overall, safety, I have very strong confidence that safety won't impact by the current financial situation because it's our mandate, it's our top priority.
Thank you so much, Wes. For the next question, I'll ask Derek Patterson, our Vice President of Regulatory Leadership and Corporate Secretary, to join me. Derek, When will the new 25th edition of the Canadian Electrical Code come into effect?
Thank you for the question. We submitted the request for amendment to the government in the last quarter of 2021. And while we can't control timing of the ultimate enforced date of new regulatory changes, we do expect that it will likely be in the third quarter of this year that you'll see the Canadian Electrical Code changes coming into effect in BC.
Thanks so much, Derek. Let's see what the next question is here. Please keep those questions coming in. Derek, another one for you. Is there any plan to address jurisdictional authority of pressure piping in BC versus as compared to BC OGC?
Coordinating with OGC on a number of different issues that impact both of our jurisdictions where there isn't clarity. And so on that particular point, I'll have to look into that further, Kimberly, to get feedback as to exactly where we are in that particular issue.
Thanks for that, Derek. And here's our next question. This comes from an electrical contractor who really appreciates the online permit system's new function of being able to change the scope of an existing permit. The contractor is wondering if there's a timeline on when we'll be able to change the value of an existing permit as well.
Thank you, Kimberly. I can provide a partial answer. My name is Claudio Pini. I'm the Vice President of Business Transformation and Technology. So we're working on a very significant project to replace and simplify the processes that are client-facing. And we are also replacing the technology that support those processes. That is a multi-year project, so it will take a few more years until that is live. In the meantime, we are making some improvements as the one that is mentioned, and we are looking at options of improving the current technology. We don't have a timeline on when that's going to happen, but we are hoping that with the existing technology, those improvements can happen between this year and next year. And then you will start seeing the new system, or we'll start accessing the new system for certification in particular next year, and then permits will come later.
With the increase in hydrogen systems in both consumer and industry, has any public consultation started to adopt new focus standards or codes for the boiler pressure vessel and gas disciplines? Derek, I wonder if you could help us out with this question.
Kimberly, yeah, there's a couple of things that are going on in one of the latest revisions to the one of the gas codes. We did make some changes in the definition of natural gas so that it could include hydrogen. So to allow for hydrogen being incorporated into the gas distribution system in future. And also the potential for hydrogen as a clean fuel source that will help the government in meeting its GHG emission reduction targets set out in its Clean BC plan. The government really is taking a close look at how should hydrogen be regulated within British Columbia. And the Ministry of Energy, Mines and Low Carbon Innovation is currently going through a process where it's retaining a consultant to help it identify, is a single stop regulator the best option for the province, or Technical Safety BC already has some expertise in this area, and we do have some current accountability for overseeing aspects of hydrogen utilization in the province. And so what will our role be in that space going forward? And what role will the Oil and Gas Commission potentially have? We're the two most logical regulatory bodies which would have authority in this space going forward. So these are all questions that are being looked at presently, and the government will be making decisions in the months ahead as to where responsibility for this should lie.
Thanks, Derek. And we have a somewhat related question here. How is Technical Safety BC managing the increasing risks and impacts of climate change in the wake of the current political landscape and the inability to gain traction on solid climate action?
Our organization works closely with government and with other bodies, such as other utilities, for instance, within the province, BC Hydro, Fortis BC. We also work with Emergency Management BC and local governments. So we know that to have an effective response to extreme weather events and climate issues like the flooding that we saw last year, or the extreme heat, or wildfires such as wiped out Lytton, that it's not just one organization that can effectively respond. It's a coordinated effort. So we're working with utilities and local governments as to how we can more effectively respond. And at Technical Safety BC, we also have a clearly developed climate strategy that focuses on really three main areas. One is, what are the climate impacts that create new safety risks to the technologies that we oversee? And also there's climate mitigation and climate adaptation. And by mitigation, I mean, how do we as an organization reduce our own greenhouse gas emissions? But more importantly, how do we support the province in reducing greenhouse gas emissions from industry and from the public in BC? And that's why we're looking at things like new fuel sources such as hydrogen. And then there's climate adaptation, which is really with the recurring, for instance, the recurring extreme weather events we've seen. We know that they're going to be occurring more frequently because of climate change impacts. So what do we need to do to better prepare communities and the public for when those events happen? And how do we ensure that we de-energize energy sources and have them re-energized after an event has hit as quickly as possible? And that involves coordinating with other agencies. So there's a lot of things that we are doing. There's a lot of attention that we're paying in this area. And it's certainly top of mind for all of us at Technical Safety BC.
Thanks for that, Derek. For our next question, I'll ask Kate Bailey, our Vice President of Marketing and Communications, to join me. Kate, we have a question here. Are there any plans to restart the Boiler Technical Advisory Committee meetings?
So thank you, Kimberly. We've actually shifted our consultation model, and I think this is useful information for everyone on the call to know. We have shifted to what we're considering sort of an issues-based consultation model. So one of the key tools that supports that is our Engage at Technical Safety BC site that actually lists out all of the issues, regardless of the technology, that we happen to be seeking feedback, consultation, collaboration with clients. That those things are all listed as part of that site, and people should look for our communications in our newsletters and in the other communications that we send out for things that we are focusing on as an organization, and how they can influence and collaborate with us to move those issues forward. So we're using our internal data on what is really important in the safety system and using our Engage site to both solicit participation as well as really guide that participation from the safety system going forward. So we'll not be reestablishing the technology advisory committees. Instead, we're shifting to this new collaboration model. And if people would like more information on how to use that collaboration model, there's actually a breakout session after this webinar that people can come and learn a lot more about how to collaborate with us on safety issues in their technology.
Thanks so much for that, Kate. And for our next question, I'll ask Kate Parker, our Vice President of People, to join me. Kate, it was mentioned that Technical Safety was using extra funds to hire more employees this past year. Will we see any increase in hiring of ESOs to have a better presence in the field? We've seen an increase in permits, but no increase in ESOs.
Thanks, Kimberly. And that's a good question. When we are looking at hiring more employees, excuse me, there's two sides to that. We did add more full-time employees, and there was a blend. We added safety officers, some knowledge workers, and some support for those people in new strong leaders. There was an increase. I think there was an additional electrical safety officer that was added, but we did not look across one specific technology when we were hiring. We looked at the needs of the entire organization. We continue to hire safety officers in all technologies, looking to keep a very strong workforce, and we continue to educate our existing safety officers, and that's where we're spending additional funds to support both the knowledge and the impact that every safety officer can have.
Thanks for that, Kate. And while I have you, we have another question for you here. The current labor market has become extremely competitive. How is Technical Safety BC ensuring that it's retaining top talent in an extremely competitive labor market and in a market where there is just short staffing everywhere?
It's a good question, and it's a challenge for everyone in this labor market, not specifically just Technical Safety BC. One of the things that we know is a really important part of all of our employees' experience at Technical Safety BC is our culture. We are a people-first organization. We make commitments to support our existing employees, to bring new employees in that are going to challenge and improve our culture. And we are always looking for ways to support our employees to grow within the organization. One of the things that we have been investing in is increased support for our employees as we are all being challenged across the globe with resiliency and the ability to stay productive and positive in what has been a challenging couple of years. We've been making sure that we are supporting our employees in terms of their physical, mental, and emotional health, as well as their ability to grow, learn more, and build their careers within the organization. Again, we are looking always to make sure that the employees we have continue to grow and stay and build their careers with us. And we also recognize that in a market where there's a shortage, we are getting creative in terms of how we can bring new employees in and make sure that they have competitive packages, both in compensation and in their experience.
Thanks so much for that, Kate. For the next question, I'll ask Kate Bailey to join me again. Kate, why did Technical Safety BC decide to not host 2021 electrical code change courses for FSR renewal education requirements?
So we, after our last electrical code implementation, we received feedback from the market, as well as were able to do a bit of a scan of the market to determine how well served the FSR market was when it came to electrical code training. And that scan actually indicated that the market is extremely well served by other training providers, very competent training providers who we accredit through our accreditation team to make sure that we're working with them on a standardized syllabus and course materials so that they can then do a really great job at training FSRs on the new codes as they emerge. It's one of our opportunities to drive scale in the market. So rather than us relying on ourselves to serve the entire FSR market, we now have a group of organizations who are ready, willing, and able, and for whom education is their core business, to really get out there and do a great job of this. So we feel very confident that this is a good model going forward. When there's there's a lot of FSRs in the province, so there's certainly a lot of opportunity to serve them. So this is one of our approaches to making sure that we have the right people getting the right education in the right places.
Phil, could you join us for this question? Does Technical Safety BC consider outsourcing regular inspections to certified parties in order to support safety at scale?
Well, currently we are not outsourcing any of our inspection work to a third party, and it's not in our plans to do that. But what I would say is that all the regulated work is performed by certified individuals and licensed contractors. So whether you're a field safety representative, electrical field safety representatives, or a gas fitter, or an elevator mechanic, or a power engineer, you all have certifications and are qualified to do work well. So this is a big part of the safety system. That's why my remarks referred to how licensed contractors and certified individuals have such an important role to play. And we do not inspect everything 100% of the time. So if we do rely on the expertise of certified individuals and licensed contractors, and then of course we assure through the type of inspection models that we have. So I think there is a lot of very capable people looking at work, and that's a big part of the model. And no, we do not currently have any plans to outsource inspections. Thanks, Kimberly.
And I think we have a question here for Derek. Derek, is there any plan for a future of BC that makes all municipal inspections and technical safety BC to make a unique organization for all across BC?
Thanks, Kimberly. I would say the answer to that right now is no. There is a specific regulation that delegates authority to do inspections in electrical and gas to 10 other local governments within the province, in addition to Technical Safety BC. And so in those local governments, they have primary accountability for overseeing, doing assessments on those technologies in their area. That said, we do try to support other local governments in areas where we have expertise. For instance, when it comes to dealing with issues of the underground economy and tactics for addressing finding unpermitted work, or steps you can take to identify where there are unlicensed people doing work in a particular area. If we're aware of it, we have published notices. There was a public safety advisory, for instance, recently, where we knew there was an unlicensed individual doing work within the province, and that would come to the attention of those local governments as well. We also have a body, safety system administrators group, where we bring together representatives from other local governments who have accountability under the Safety Standards Act to share learnings. And so we do what we can to support those other local governments who have accountability in different areas, but right now there is no current plan to change the existing framework.
Thanks for that, Derek. We have time for one more question, and I'll ask Kate Bailey to join me again for this one. Kate, is there a location to see an organization's safety incidents, and what were the outcomes? Also seeing the analytics indicating what factors are common during specific types of safety events.
So I love this question. It's a great question because one of the things we fundamentally believe is that better information and better knowledge for everybody in the safety system enables people to make better decisions, because we can't be everywhere in all places. One of the, so there's a few places that I would refer the questioner. So the first one is to our website in general, as well as we've just recently released our State of Safety report. So that is launched as of yesterday. It's usually launched in concert with this annual public meeting. And it provides a lot of safety information about the province, particularly for the previous year. So this is the 2021 State of Safety that was released concurrently with our annual report yesterday. That has a lot of great information about both the organization and our impact on the safety system, as well as what is happening in the safety system itself. The other place I would encourage people to look, or to at least keep looking, is later in the year, we will be launching an enhanced registry. And that enhanced registry will have more information. So our registry is where we list all of the people in the province that have licenses to do work. And what that registry will do from once we are able to launch the enhanced version of it is it will provide a lot more information on the people doing work in the province. And that will hopefully provide people who are looking for work to do, as well as those people who do the work, much more information about their relationship in the safety system. So there is quite a bit of information available on our website through State of Safety, and we are looking to increase that considerably in the months and years ahead.
Thank you so much for that, Kate. That brings us to the end of our Q&A. Now that you've heard about our organization's performance in 2021 and the state of safety across British Columbia, it's time to start our breakout sessions. This year's event features 3 breakout sessions covering topics ranging from climate risks to the safety system, transforming how we do assessments, and one dedicated to how we can serve you better. The breakout sessions will include a brief presentation from industry experts, and then will be open for questions or dialogue. We want these to be a space for collaboration and an opportunity to build relationships across our organization. If you want to participate but haven't pre-registered, you can still join the breakout sessions. The links for each session have been added to the Zoom chat. In addition to the breakout sessions, there will be opportunities to provide feedback and submit questions through our engagement tool, Engage Technical Safety BC, which we debuted in last year's Core Connections. This website will be updated throughout the year, and all feedback provided during today's sessions will be incorporated. Lastly, we have some upcoming events for you to get involved with and share your voice. Learn more about these events by visiting us at engage.technicalsafetybc.ca. As we close out the core portion of today's event, I want to say a big thank you to today's presenters and attendees. We hope you have learned more about the state of safety in our province and the overall direction of our organization. Although British Columbia continues to face new challenges from the pandemic and from extreme weather occurring more frequently due to climate change, we are confident in our organization and in all of you to continue the good work of supporting the safety system across the province. Together, we can ensure safe technical systems everywhere in British Columbia. We'd love if you stayed connected with us in the following ways: by signing up for our email alerts, newsletters, information bulletins, and safety directives, by registering with our Learning Center, by participating in one of our upcoming events, by registering on our Engage site, or by following us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Thank you again for attending this year's Core Connections, and enjoy the breakout sessions.